Are you recording on your end?
On my phone.
All right, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
Before we start, can we do that little clap thing once more? All right. You good?
Yeah.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Bryan Witherspoon, for those of you who don't know me. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about a really cool topic, and it's on reducing AI's carbon footprint through quantum computing. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you in here are actually familiar with AI's carbon footprint? A couple of you? Okay, cool. So we'll dive a little deeper into that. Next slide, please. So I'm going to throw a cool little fact to you guys. Training a singular large AI model generates 550 metric tons of carbon dioxide. That's the lifetime emissions of 5 cars, for perspective. Now, consider how many AI models we have right now. That's hundreds, if not thousands. So that's a substantial number. Next slide, please. So now that we know how detrimental AI is to the environment, why is it a problem? Well, my topic is how quantum computing can help mitigate this problem by consuming less electricity and producing less emissions. The problem here is that AI is growing daily. There's more models being produced on a day-to-day basis by large companies or even individuals. And when we train these AI learning modules, they consume a lot of energy and they produce a lot of emissions. Next slide, please. So I don't want to just throw definitions at you guys. I want to make this a little, how do I say this? Sorry. I want to make it interactive. So can I please get some volunteers to help me read these definitions off the slide? Xander.
I'll do the first one.
Thank you.
AI is technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy.
Perfect, thank you. One more person?
I'll do quantum computing. A multidisciplinary field comprising aspects of computer science, physics, and mathematics that utilizes quantum mechanics to solve complex problems faster than on classical computers.
Thank you, Ray. Last one.
Carbon footprint, the total amount of greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere each year by a person, family, building, organization, or company, EPA 2013.
Thank you all. So my perspective is as a computer science student here at UNC Charlotte, and the purpose of this speech is to inform you all on AI's environmental impact and some possible solutions to that, including quantum computing. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit more about its environmental impact. I'm sure we're all familiar with ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, or some other open AI learning tools. The issue with them is that they generate a high amount of emissions, and this is due to the complex mathematical processes they perform, whether that be answering a question or converting an image to text. I actually read a really interesting Department of Energy report recently that found that data centers consumed about 4.4% total U.S. electricity in 2023, and that number could jump to 7 to 12% by 2028. To put that in perspective of power, that's 176 terawatts. Is anybody in here familiar with how powerful a terawatt is? No?
What?
A terawatt. So it's actually 1,000 gigawatts, or 1 trillion watts, and it could power the entire state of California for 1.5 weeks. It could power 10 million homes for an hour, or it could power all of the internet's data centers for 15 days. Now, that number is expected to jump up to 300 to 700 terawatts by 2028. It says 580, I misquoted that. Next slide. So what's the solution? This is where quantum computing comes into play. Quantum computers, unlike normal computers, can complete complex tasks in a matter of seconds with a fraction of the energy. For example, in 2019, Google's quantum computer, known as Sycamore, solved a complex mathematical problem in 200 seconds that would take a modern supercomputer 10,000 years. It's really powerful. Next slide, please. I'm going to show you guys this video for the first minute and 30 seconds. It's really engaging, and it shows some of the facts about AI's energy consumption. I really encourage you to watch it on your own time. It's around 10 minutes long.
Demand has never been higher for these rapid racks and racks of powerful servers, fueling the internet's insatiable appetite for computing in the cloud.
The reality is that the cloud is not up there somewhere, it's right here. We are in it, you're in the middle of the cloud as we speak.
And data centers like this can't ever stop. Streaming, social media, photo storage, and more recently, and requiring much more data, training and running chatbots, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot.
And you can feel the heat coming off of it.
Thanks to the generative AI race, data centers like this are springing up as quickly as companies like Vantage can build them. And that means demand for power to run them and cool them is through the roof too.
If we don't start thinking about this power problem differently now, we're never going to see the stream we have or the potential we have of this amazing technology that can truly change our lives.
One ChatGPT query takes nearly 10 times as much energy as a typical Google search, and as much energy as keeping a 5-watt LED bulb on for an hour. Generating an AI image can use as much power as charging your smartphone. Hyperscalers building data centers to accommodate AI have seen emissions skyrocket. And this problem isn't new. Estimates way back in 2019 found training one large language model produced as much CO2 as the entire lifetime of 5 gas-powered cars. And even if we can generate enough power, our aging grid is increasingly unable to handle the load.
If you look at the peak demand during the summertime, if the data center don't.
So, really interesting, and later in the video they say right now worldwide we have 8,000 data centers, but it's still not enough. That's a problem. Next slide, please. Who's harmed and who's benefited? Well, if we don't make a change to our technology and invest in quantum computing potentially, everyone's harmed. Even us, our future generations. The environment is damaged by the emissions created by the energy consumption, and that's a problem. And who benefits? Well, tech companies. Maybe not long term because everyone's affected, but short term they benefit financially because they put AI into their products, and we buy it and they benefit from us. What's the solution? Well, there's actually some in play right now. Big companies like Google, Meta, Facebook, they're all using some form of renewable energy like solar panels or wind turbines, but it's not enough. It doesn't produce enough energy to make up for how much we're consuming, so we need to think of some hypotheticals. This includes increasing the investment we put in quantum computing research. Also, developing hybrid quantum classical AI models. This is a more effective solution right now. It would allow us to put the more energy intensive operations on quantum computers and then rely on the classical computers for the more less intensive operations. And then also, last but not least, should we advocate for policy? AI is growing at a rapid development, and we need to determine whether or not we should put restrictions in place on their development and their usage. Next slide. What's the significance individually and overall? Well, individually, if we implement quantum computing or sustainable technology into our day-to-day lives, we benefit from innovative technology that will be sustainable, and overall, the entire world benefits by less carbon emissions being put into the atmosphere. In conclusion, I hope this presentation showed you all AI's increasing carbon footprint and how it needs to be dealt with, how quantum computing serves as a potential solution to this, as well as developing more sustainable technology. And if all else fails, we need to advocate for change, whether that be through policy or another form. Next slide. If you'd like to reach me about this presentation, you can contact me at these forms of communication, my email, my phone number, and if you scan the QR code, you'll be taken to my LinkedIn page where I love to connect with you. I'm close to, I think, 1,000, 100, so the more the merrier. And are there any questions about my presentation? Yeah, Aljo.
I'm a big fan of quantum computing, and I would like to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
So right now, we don't have a conventional quantum computer to use to do AI training, where there's not a lot of frameworks out there for AI training. How long do you think it's going to take until we effectively see quantum computing used for AI training?
So I know Google's quantum computer Sycamore, like I mentioned, I read an article, and they're actually allowing some open access to it in terms of operations. So we're getting there, but I'd say as a general time frame, I can only estimate probably 4 years, if not more. So it's a long time, but it'll be interesting to see.
So kind of to build off of this question, as far as I'm aware, we're like pretty far away from, like, while we're making, you know, progressions in quantum computing every day, we're pretty far away from its actual like use in the industry. Could you also argue that you know, putting that sort of energy usage towards a transformational technology such as artificial intelligence isn't necessarily the problem? The problem is our reliance on fossil fuels and stuff for our energy grid.
It is. The issue is that with the amount of energy we're consuming, renewable energy won't be able to replace that. So we're always going to rely on fossil fuels to some degree. So that's why we need to create sustainable technology, or like you said, rely on more renewable energy with like solar panels, wind turbines. But that itself is an investment. So. Bryan, please.
So, given all that we know about the topic, as a policymaker, what kind of regulation would you put on AI usage before we get to quantum computing?
That's a great question. Honestly, I don't think much regulation on AI's usage for us can be put in place. I would say maybe on companies with their usage inside of like social media algorithms or things along those lines, that could be regulated maybe, but our usage as individuals, that probably won't be changed just due to its lack of support. Everyone uses AI. So, thank you. Anyone else? You go ahead.
Sorry. Another question towards you know, the power usage of quantum computers. So quantum computers right now need a huge refrigeration system, which like requires a lot of power.
Right.
And if we're training AI, I know that it's going to take a shorter amount of time compared to conventional computers. Do you think that the power consumption might as well be the same? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I actually read about that.
Yeah.
And the reason the power consumption is actually so high for cooling is because a lot of companies still rely on fan-based cooling when there's actually progression being made right now for liquid cooling, which uses significantly less energy. So if that's implemented, I don't think we would see as heavy as reliance on energy for quantum computing.
Well,
That makes sense.
well, so quantum computers don't use fan cooling or liquid cooling. They use I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a chandelier, and inside of it, it's like more like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry, but
No, you're good.
yeah.
So I was referring to liquid cooling for the hybrid models potentially, and also like the normal classical computers, because that will most likely never go away for at least another 10 years until we advance further as a society.
Okay.
But yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you guys so much. Oh wait,
Sorry,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on like, say, you know, nuclear power and, because, you know, a lot of companies are starting to buy old nuclear plants to replace to reduce the strain on the energy grid.
Honestly, I haven't dove into the nuclear power sector yet, so I'm not too sure. I know it's a very popular area for energy because it's less detrimental to our environment, but there's also like complications with it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Something were to go wrong, so, yeah. Anybody else? Faith.
Has your use of AI changed?
Actually, it has. So after I watched the video, which said like that, you know, generating a single image is enough to charge your phone, it kind of opened my eyes as to how much I've done with the environment, which is like, I've done a lot negatively. I've generated thousands of images, if not hundreds. So I think after watching that video and also researching the topic a bit more, it's definitely opened my eyes into how I use AI and restricted it a bit. Thank you.
Wait, so
Yep.
you use AI to generate images. Did you have to pay for it, like for like a subscription?
Yes, I know there's AI models right now where you don't have to. I personally have subscribed to ChatGPT Premium for a couple months, but I'll probably stop renewing my subscription after this presentation. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right.